Welcome back. So now that we have indicated where we want to place our strain gauge, we are now ready to clean the surface of the beam. We can see there's some leftover residue, so in order to get rid of that, we're going to use a series of 3 solutions. I'm going to show you the bottles here. Hopefully it won't be so large that you can't see it within the frame here, but maybe I can do it this way. So the first one is a neutralizer, and you can tell that it's the one we want to use because it has a white nozzle. Okay, so this is our neutralizer. So we're going to use that along with a piece of sandpaper. Sandpaper here. I'm going to cut a small piece. It doesn't have to be large. And then I like to use a glove when applying these solutions. One of them will be a light acid that we place on top of our beam, so I would recommend putting at least one glove on the hand that you use predominantly. So again, taking the neutralizer, has the white nozzle for the lid, and place a small drop just there on the beam where your marker is, and then use the sandpaper. We're going to scrape alongside that beam where we have marked, and we're trying to get rid of all of the glue, previous adhesive, anything that remains on the surface we want to get rid of, because that's going to keep us from making a good contact with the beam when we glue on the strain gauge. So you can see that my line is disappearing, but don't fear because we do have our markers on either side there. Okay, so I'm going to add another droplet here. I'm losing some of that moisture, so I'm going to add another droplet. Keep scraping. Alright, so that's starting to look a little bit nicer than it was. So I'm going to take some gauze here. Here's these little squares of gauze that I'm going to use, and you can fold it in half. It's a great way to get some double thickness here. Fold it in half, and you're going to do a swipe to get as much of it as you can off, and then lay it over on the opposite side and swipe the other direction. Again, trying to get all the residue off that you can with a single swipe one way and a single swipe the other way. That was phase 1 of our solution, so now we're ready for phase 2. Phase 2 is the red nozzle. So I'll show you here. It has a red nozzle on the bottle, and it is a conditioner. That's what the bottle calls it, a conditioner. This is the acid, so it's red to indicate that it could be hazardous. So this is where you want to be wearing your glove. So again, using your markers as your indicators to place a droplet onto the beam. Don't forget to close your bottle so you don't spill. This time we are going to use a Q-tip. A Q-tip to scrub that acid back and forth across the surface of that beam. So you can see that the Q-tip is pretty black and gross. I'm going to go ahead and add another droplet because this surface of the beam is still pretty gross. I feel like it needs just one more droplet there, and use that Q-tip again to clean as best we can. So this one's a little bit cleaner. That was my first time. That's the second time. So it's starting to get lighter and lighter. That's a good sign. That means it's getting clean. The last phase is going to be a neutralizer. It has the blue nozzle on the bottle. So this neutralizer is actually going to remove any pH, or balance the pH levels of our beam after we had the acid on there. Again, using those marker indicators on either side of our beam to help us remember where we're cleaning, where we're focusing at. You can use a Q-tip for this one, similar to our last step. Wiping back and forth. So it's getting lighter, right? Lighter and lighter. Let's do one more drop just to be sure, just to be safe. This beam had a lot of tape on it. So I'm using the other side of my Q-tip here just to do one last drop of the blue neutralizer. Hopefully it's going to be even wider. So see, there is a difference. Pretty clean. So pleased with that outcome. So we're pretty much done with our beam for now. I would recommend setting it to the side because we need to start preparing our wires and our strain gauge. So setting this guy to the side, our strain gauges come in a package that looks like this. Flip it over and show you. You can see them inside their packaging. Unwrap them, and you will want to use your tweezers here to get them completely out of the box. I'm going to take a break while I open up the box, and we'll be right back.